Hello, welcome. Today we are speaking about something that I think is okay. What comes up for you when you hear discipline? I'm imagining it's some type of like punishment or rigidity, something that is synonymous with force and control, domination, power over, maybe grinding ourselves into exhaustion in the name of becoming better, right? Wrong. So that is where we are going today. We are exploring something that is deeply misunderstood, that is truly one of the most beautiful and freeing aspects that we can bring into our life when we have right understanding of it. So, that is where we are going today. Welcome. Many of us equate discipline as the opposite of freedom because it has been separated from its true meaning. And at its heart, discipline is full of devotion and relationship. So, because of this misconception that we have, people either reject discipline entirely and just kind of like live at the by the seat of their pants at the whims of their senses and just go for it, or they become so consumed by it in ways that kind of like slowly drain the life out of them, and there's this rigidity. They swing between scattered energy and harsh control, between procrastination and overexertion, and between collapse and hustle. Anyone else feel seen? I know I do. I've definitely rode that pendulum back and forth throughout my life. And the truth is, neither side creates the kind of life that most of us are actually longing for. Because I don't think most of us want to have the just, whoa, whatever I want to do that will end up probably bringing harm, or this like so rigidly controlled that we're not actually living, right? So discipline is meant to be love, devotion, and steadiness so that we can center our lives around what truly matters to us and live from that place. So let's talk about sacred discipline versus hustle. We live in a culture that worships hustle. We demand more output, more productivity, more optimization, more forcing, more doing. We do it to the planet, we do it to our bodies, we do it to our minds and our senses. It's just this kind of go, go, go. And we pay a price for it. The nervous system pays the price, the body, our heart, everything. Most people are chronically scattered because their energy is constantly being like fragmented and pulled in 1,000 different directions at once. So something I'm constantly telling my clients is like turn off notifications on your phone, all the buzzing and the dinging and these things that create a sense of urgency that lead us to overconsumption and comparison and constant pressure and rushing and that constant stimulation that does definitely wear us down. And this leads to exhaustion and weak life force energy, and then not feeling clear in life, feeling confused. And it's like, well, of course, because our life force is leaking everywhere. I was actually gardening with my husband a few weeks ago, and a hose had a leak. And so it couldn't do its job optimally. And we were wasting water on top of it. So the hose wasn't having its full force, so it wasn't able to serve us. And then we're leaking water and wasting water. And that's us on many levels. So then we think, well, I just need more discipline. But what that often means is that they end up forcing harder, then leaking even more energy haphazardly because there's no clear focus. It's just kind of this like running nowhere fast, having the leaky hose and thinking if you turn the water pressure up higher, it's going to work. And it doesn't work that way. So sacred discipline is not hustle. Discipline and hustle are not synonymous. Discipline and overriding yourself, discipline and self-punishment disguised as self-improvement, doing more for the sake of it, those are not discipline. And I'm really using sacred discipline here because I want us to kind of, we're not making a new word, I'm just putting a different word and another word in front of discipline, but getting us to think about it in a way that it is meant to be, and the preciousness that it can bring to our lives when we view it as sacred and an intentional use of our life force energy. So sacred discipline is a stewardship of your life force energy. It's the loving and intentional use of it, being in right relationship with it, learning how to direct it towards what is sacred and meaningful to you instead of constantly hemorrhaging it into distraction and reactivity and overstimulation and unconscious habits. That's not right use of our energy. That's not being in collaboration and relationship with this gift that we've been given. Sacred discipline gathers you back to yourself so that you can then be really clear about how you want to channel this energy and this attention. Most people, so we talked about the kinds of swinging of the pendulum that we do. We try to create change through sheer willpower alone. So that's another thing that we think that discipline is like, it's willpower. I'm just going to like muscle through it, so disciplined. And they believe that if I could just become disciplined enough, motivated enough, focused enough, then I would finally become who I'm meant to be. I hear this a lot from clients. This is like something that I've heard so many times over the years, is that I need more discipline. I need more motivation. I need more focus. And then I can be who I know I'm meant to be. And that kind of thinking, again, that comes from that kind of hustle, need to fix, need to optimize. It will eventually lead us into more of that kind of collapsed place. So we're still riding that pendulum. There's no sustainability. There's no like smooth ride. Force is not sustainable, not when it's disconnected from love. So we need sometimes that like that momentum to overcome inertia, right? We need to like get that like giddy up so that we can break away from inertia of previous habits and ways of being, and get us into ones that are more aligned with what we want to create in our lives. But when it's disconnected from love, it's just more of that hustle and like fix yourself, you're not good enough, that kind of thinking. Additionally, the issue with like sheer willpower is that underneath that, there's this deeper illusion that I believe that I am the sole doer. You feel that? That everything rests entirely on my own effort. And that transformation is something that I will force into existence through sheer willpower alone. But life does not work that way. Any transformation is relational. There's something greater moving through our process of becoming. And when we forget that, again, discipline becomes this mean, ego-driven thing, dry, mechanical, exhausting, unsustainable. And we treat ourselves like machines instead of living beings participating in something sacred and relational. I'm bringing this topic up now. I mean, it's an important topic anytime, but we're entering into summer very soon. The solstice is in about 2 weeks as I record this. And on InnerSpark's Wheel of the Year, each of the 8 seasons corresponds with a particular mood, invitation, and presentation of the divine. So yes, we experience the seasons literally as the earth changes. So we will move into summer. It's going to feel different than spring and different than winter. And we just move through these seasons. So we experience them literally as the earth changes. However, the deeper, subtler, psycho, spiritual, emotional elements of these shifts, of these seasons that are like manifested as the earth changes, but they exist in deeper, subtler ways. They're here to invite us into deeper evolution and expansion on our journeys. The changing seasons kind of mirror to us our soul's own journey of maturation and individuation and becoming. So this first part of summer, I've likened to the blacksmith, and the blacksmith is all about sacred discipline. So I want you to imagine a blacksmith working with metal, right? There's that rhythmic pounding. It takes a lot of effort and focus and energy. The metal is not transformed because it like screams at itself harder or because the blacksmith wills it so. It might appear that way. However, it is transformed through relationship with the fire, with heat, with pressure, with refinement, with timing, with patience, with presence and willingness. So the metal must enter the fire, and the blacksmith is there kind of like midwifing this and working with it and harnessing and finessing. And there's all these elements that are working together. And this is a really beautiful metaphor, I feel, for spiritual life and transformation in general. Real discipline is not self-domination. It's the willingness to remain in relationship with the fire of transformation of life, to stay present and to keep returning and to allow yourself to be shaped instead of trying to control every aspect of your becoming. And again, I feel seen with what I have written here because I think for most of us, it can feel a little safer, right? This like illusion of control rather than allowing ourselves to be shaped by life. We're like, well, I'm gonna try to control and make things happen and bend life to my will. And it doesn't work that way. This is refinement. It's flowing and dancing with life. It's not punishment. It's refinement. There's a big difference. Punishment. So when we use discipline in a like shadowy, forceful type of way, it's like it says you are not enough and must force yourself into worthiness. Refinement, sacred discipline says that there's something sacred within you asking to be revealed more fully. You feel that difference? That's just so good. Punishment and the shadowy side of discipline hardens, becomes rigid, stale, lifeless. And refinement, sacred discipline, it clarifies and it opens and it dances and it evolves and it expands infinitely. Punishment disconnects you from yourself, and refinement brings you into deeper relationship with yourself, with life, and with the God of your heart on an ongoing basis. And so this is why discipline rooted in devotion becomes sustainable, because now your life, your practices, your values, everything that you stand for, the way that you move through the world, the way that you are in right relationship and collaboration with it, are no longer acts of self-rejection or of pendulum swinging. They become acts of love, and they're alive. Life becomes alive. So seeing discipline as devotion really changes everything. Discipline becomes sacred when it becomes devotional, not when it's forcing yourself, fixing yourself, figuring things out, rigid, controlling, punishing. But when it becomes, I offer myself to life, I offer myself to what I love. There was a beautiful quote I heard the other day, and I cannot remember. It was somebody quoting somebody else. So it's like playing a game of telephone. But it was that life isn't about you. You are about life. So again, these like little subtle nuanced shifts that actually like change everything. So life's not about you. You are about life. So this sacred discipline is offering yourself to life, offering yourself to love, offering yourself to what you love, to what matters most to you. And then it just is. It's there's like no force required. Like I said earlier, there will be times when there is a little bit of maybe extra effort or little gung ho that's needed to overcome inertia of past habits or tendencies or beliefs. And so we kind of need a little bit of that, like little hitch, little kind of like a I'm having an image of like when you're trying to get a horse to go. I've clearly don't ride horses. I'm sure somebody watching who does might be like, oh, this poor girl. But you give them a little tap with the thing, and they go. So we need just a little loving little tap on the booty to get us going. This is an entirely different energy, entirely different energy. So, for example, you meditate not because you are trying to dominate your mind and silence it, and I'm going to da, 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 but because you long for connection and presence and to be with what is, to like ride the wave of reality and to be. You nourish your body and eat whole real foods, not because you don't like yourself or because you're trying to control how you look or any of that, but because you recognize the sacredness of the vessel carrying your life force and how it does best when it eats foods that are real food. You rest because you honor rhythm and you don't wait until you're exhausted to do so. You return to your practices, whatever they may be, not because you are performing self-care or performing spirituality or trying to like be the best or whatever, any of the other things that we've all thought and experienced. You do those things because you are tending relationship. This is the difference. And this is the devotional focus when discipline becomes sacred and something that we use to orient our life around the sacred. It is focused. It's not a frantic striving or an egoic obsession. Devotional focus clarifies and gathers your energy so that you naturally want to align everything around you. There's like no force needed. And so discipline doesn't feel like punishment anymore. It's doing what you know is best naturally. It's not a chore. Caring for yourself, honoring your boundaries, expressing yourself, they don't feel unsustainable or challenging. They feel like participation and reverence and that sacred collaboration, that relationship that I keep talking about. Spiritual stamina doesn't mean that all of a sudden everything is easy when we shift this understanding of discipline. It means that discipline is rooted in devotion and becomes a sort of spiritual stamina to fuel you through life. And I think I've already kind of touched on this enough and alluded to the fact that sometimes we will need a little bit of that, the horse booty slap to get us going. True devotion will carry us farther than hustle ever will. Ever will. The spiritual stamina provides staying power and an anchor and kind of like a sustainable, slow burning fuel that brings equanimity and the ability to be with life and to flow with it, to remain devoted, open, present, and willing, even when we're uncomfortable, even when we think we should be progressing or should be somewhere else, even when the ego wants different results. Spiritual stamina is the willingness to stay in the fire of the forge without abandoning yourself and allowing the steady rhythmic hammer of devotional discipline to finesse your ego against the anvil. I love that. It's a dance between effort and surrender as you continue refining your life force toward truth instead of scattering it into distraction and unconsciousness. So as we close, I wanted to offer you some, like what does this tangibly, practically look like in daily life? So it's not just these wonderful musings that we can all hold on to. And then it's like, well, what am I doing with it? So this is what we can do with it. It may look like protecting your attention instead of giving it away endlessly by being mindful of what you allow into your senses. So truly, truly, truly being mindful of what you allow into your senses. If a TV is on and it's not being watched, turn it off. Are you actually listening to music or is it just background noise? Turn it off. Do you need to be scrolling Instagram for like the fourth time this day, this hour? Put it away. Everything that we take in is adding to that leak in the hose. It looks like saying no to what drains your life force without apology and saying yes to what makes you feel alive. It looks like tending your body with reverence, attentiveness, and care. The same care that you would offer a child or a lover. So many of us care way more for the people around us than ourselves. And I love reminding clients and myself that extending that same level of care and reverence and attentiveness to yourself is caring for those around you that you love as well, your children, your lover, your friends. It is caring for them too, because guess what? There's only one you, and you need to take care of them, and that's how you're going to show up optimally for the people around you. Living in this way and shifting our focus and our vision about discipline and having it be sacred discipline also looks like creating rhythms in your life. So a stability that stabilize your nervous system. And also recognizing that if your nervous system is grounded and happy, everything in life is infinitely better. It looks like returning to prayer, meditation, breath, movement, nourishment as your daily non-negotiable self-care foundation. And it's choosing depth over distraction, even if it feels like less. This is something that has been challenging for me throughout my life, definitely, is going deeper and not wider and being okay with that. And it's funny because it actually brings us more. When we do less with greater depth and greater intention, it's so much more rewarding and we receive so much more than if we kind of feel like, oh, we're doing all the things and it's everywhere, but it's just like little shallow bits everywhere. It looks like continuing your practice even when the ego is bored, because that is a good sign. Let yourself be bored. And it's remembering what you actually serve. All of this because you love something deeply enough to shape your life around it. That is sacred discipline. So, how can you allow yourself to be transformed and refined? Most of us are trying to force our lives, trying to force ourselves, trying to force into being. But life isn't asking to be forced. It's asking for participation and collaboration, for presence, willingness, and devotion. We're not here to like violently dominate ourselves into becoming and to swing on pendulums and kind of just feel exhausted and unfocused and not present through life. We are here to offer ourselves to the fire that is already shaping us. Like it's already here. So do we want to be here with it intentionally and really collaborate and live and like align our lives around what truly matters? Or do we want to keep like being a leaky hose and going here and there and not intentionally collaborating with this beautiful sacred power and opportunity? Like we get to choose. So we can allow ourselves to be refined, to be transformed, and to allow devotional discipline to carry us where this false perception that we have that sheer willpower can get us there. So allowing devotional discipline to carry us where willpower cannot. So let me leave you with a few questions. I love to give you something to chew on. I'm a big proponent of sitting there with your journal. So here you go. Here's some reflections for you. Where is my energy becoming scattered? Where are you being like that leaky hose? And to what am I truly devoted? Not what I think I should be devoted to, not what anything like that. What am I actually devoted to in this life? And am I living into that? Does my life reflect that? What would discipline look like if it came from love instead of punishment? And finally, what am I being invited to refine right now? What would happen if I stopped trying to force my becoming and allowed myself to be forged instead? All right. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you any reflections you might have about sacred discipline, and I will see you next time.